We got one more header here to do on this read directory synchronously, and it's an important header because it's an important function. This is that recursive function that we talked about that actually does the loading of the files off of the hard drive, the disk, your local volume or whatever.
This was on the file operations, right?
Yeah,
Same.
right there.
Okay.
I'm going to start it. /**. And it's app function, read directory synchronously. The description should read, oops, let me, hold on, I can't really, I gotta collapse part of my screen because it's a little bit of a long sentence. Okay. Recursively parses through all the subfolders in a given path and loads all of the files contained in each subfolder into a map array. Well, actually, I guess it's a map object. Map object. Now that sentence is kind of long, so I'm going to break it at this word and. Okay, that's cleaner. Alright, and it has a directory param of type string. The system path that should be scanned recursively for files. And it's going to return an object. We describe that as a JSON object. And we could say, yeah, JSON object is fine. Of all the let's see here, what is this? Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. This should be an array, I think. Yeah, this is supposed to be an array. This is not reading the contents of the files. It's reading the file names. Yeah, this, okay, so this needs to change. I'm sorry. This should be an array of string. Okay, and I'm going to change the description a little bit. Recursively parses through all subfolders in a given path and loads all the files contained in, and I'm going to say saves all the file names and paths contained in each subfolder into an array, into an array. That's fine. Okay, and this is the system path that should be scanned recursively for files. A JSON object of all the file. No, it's not a JSON object. It's an array of all the files contained in all levels of the specified path in all the folders and subfolders. Okay, that's a little long. Let's drop that off. Okay, that's better. And there's a note here. Note. The function doesn't actually return anything. All the file data is stored in an external data collection. Okay, and then author is WN050. So we have to put that as the author. Not you and not me. It's WN050. At reference, and this is the reference. I'm going to copy paste this for you in the training chat. I'll put that there for you because I didn't write this function mostly. I mean, some of it I did. Let's see here. Where's our training? There it is. Okay. So you just have to copy paste that link. And it's author WN050, and then today's date. Date 2022-01-20. The code I was editing today over here on my other machine for this framework, a lot of the functions I was writing, the last time I wrote them was this time last year to the day.
Really?
Yeah, January 20, 2021. That blew me away. I heard that. I saw that. I was like, what? that was just so. You've got this on your screen. Let me just sort of come back up, and there's I'm going to come back. Let me see. What's the first one? Is load all end controllers.databroker load all JSON data function. So I've got that same line right here on my screen. End brokers.databroker load all.
Can you zoom up on yours a little bit?
Yeah, I think I can come in here.
There we go.
Okay. And then right after that is loaded and merged all data files is. And it says system, app setting, trunk monkey. Okay, so the trunk monkey comes from the client application.system.json. Okay, so we're definitely loading that file. And then there's this other one, end controllers.chiefdata setup all JSON config data, right? So you see that one. And then right below that is all app config data is at system app setting trunk monkey. Okay, so you've got that, and then right below that is all framework config data is, and you've got this. There's right there on your screen. System date timestamp. You've got your hours, year, month, day, hour, minute, second, millisecond. System date stamp. Year, month, day. System timestamp. It's, you see it? There's system argument driven interface settings true. There's a system.console log enabled, system.enable debug configuration setting. Like, you've got all of those settings there. So it loaded both of those files off of the files on disk. The all framework config data came from your source resources configuration framework.system.json. And the trunk monkey was loaded from test resources configuration application.system.json. Okay, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got two data sets that are independent of each other, but it loaded them. That was the whole point of this whole exercise so far. We did a lot. Now, we were sort of building skeleton stuff for going into the next phase. But that data is there, and we logged it because, and I can show you in the code right where it logs it from. It logs it, I believe, from chief configuration. Yeah, right here. Chief configuration. There's these two logs right here. All app config data is. It's on your screen right there, and all config data is, and right there. And so it's loaded it from this variable, all app config data. And all framework config data is from here. And both of those called setup all JSON config data. One of them called it from the framework config path, and the other one with the app config path. Got it?
Yeah.
So now you start to see how it fits together, right? A little bit more?
Right.
Now, if you see it a little bit better if you actually go and, let's see here, all app config data, you could take this and reformat it, put it in a tool and format M. So there we've got our stuff, and I could bring the other one over here, which is a little bit more actual data, and then from here to there, and drop that in here and format that. And now you can compare this with the actual file on disk, if I come back to my editor here, and then compare that with this one, and compare it with this one. Now, it did a little bit something different with this application setting. We can go look at that. See how that's got a system and then app setting trunk monkey? And if I go to the other one, it's got system, date, timestamp, blah, blah, blah. But they're all under this system prefix. Now that's the runtime system configuration setting. That's why it did that. It did that because that's how we designed it to work. So if I come back to this one, you'll see there's no system at the top level. The framework put that in there because that's how it's managing its internal data.
Okay.
Right, because we're going to access later on. It's hinting at the future because later on we're going to have a hierarchical based system, and the hierarchy, how you access your element, will be this namespace. So system.date timestamp. So we're going to actually have to access it by calling it system.date timestamp because that's how we're going to get to it. Like you'll actually have to query for your data that way.
Right.
So you'll see when we get a little bit further into the next. I think in the next one we need to immediately implement the advanced hierarchical-based configuration system along with the business rules. So what we've done up to this point has just been child's play. Now we're going to level up. We're ready to go, and I think you're there because I mean your skill level has come up. One thing we need to do at this point is go back, and I'm just going to close all my tabs, and we need to go back and delete some stuff here. Is it me in the back? Yeah, there's some stuff I just need to delete from when I was doing the comparison. Okay. Anything else? No, I think we're good. Okay, so we need to go back through all of our files because if you go back and look at that console, like you've got a lot of stuff you're dumping out on the screen, right? There's a lot of things going on. Mm-hmm. And we don't need all of that right now. We possibly might need to re-enable it, these console logs, but right now we don't. And I should add, remember we hard-coded all these console logs. So at this point, we can't, all of this stuff is done before we've even loaded the configuration file. I mean, we loaded it, but even after we've loaded it, like what you just saw in your console, like that loads it, yes, but we still need to like parse it and run it through the business rules system, and then it gets loaded into the actual configuration storage. Like what you saw, the configuration data is loaded, it's in these variables.
Uh-huh.
We haven't actually stored it in the system data structure yet.
Right.
It's just held in these variables, which is sort of that good first step, but we need to go a step further. And so all of the console logs that we're going to be implementing in the future when we build out our console logging system depend on that data. Like it's not going to work without them. So all of this stuff that we've written so far, we're never going to be able to use them with the console log system. It's always going to have to be hard-coded logs. So this is like root level logging, and we can't, like framework level, root level logging. And we're never really going to be able to use the other system because the data will have never loaded. So everything we've written so far, we just need to comment out the console logs. And if we ever need to debug it, we're going to have to uncomment them. That'll continue for a little bit longer. We'll have to continue to use hard-coded logs. But at some point, when we have the console log system built out, then we can go back, and some certain ones we can actually convert back. Convert over to the new console logging system. But most of it, as far as what we've written right now, it's probably never going to be able to change. So yeah, we just go comment these. I'm just going to go through every file, every function,
Yeah.
comment out everything that is a console log that I don't need. Unless it's something that is like a glaring warning or something else. So all these console logs. And we most likely are going to need to re-enable them to do additional debugging as we continue to build out the rest of the system. But for now, this is a sort of a poor man's way of controlling what gets logged, because again, we don't have a lot of infrastructure in place anyways, and we're never going to be able to use that infrastructure to control this anyways. So I'm just going through chief configuration, chief data, and I'm going to comment out all of these console logs. Now when it comes to the test harness, I'll probably leave those in, just because they're at the application layer. And this path elements, take that out. Just comment, 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 comment. And that'll really clean up our console logs. And that way also, when we start going into that next phase, if we need to target a specific area, then we'll target that area for logging. And if we need to expand that area, then we can expand it for additional debugging, you know, that kind of thing. But we don't need like everything. Especially this system is going to be growing, and we don't want to blow ourselves out of the water with too much data on the screen, because we won't be able to manage it. File operations, all this stuff. Now here's an error message in the catch. I'm going to leave that. The console log error, I'm going to leave it. It's important to make sure we still have those in place. Comment out, comment out, comment out, comment out. Comment out. Directory path is... There's another error, invalid access to. I'm going to leave that one there, just in case we have a nasty error condition. Clean root path, doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it there because we're not even calling that function anyways. Loggers, I'm going to leave that one out. It doesn't matter for right now. Timers. Timers, we're not really using timers anyways, but I think it's time to comment those out too. We'll deal with all of this later. Okay, main. Yeah, we can comment out main. Beginning and end. Okay, and then test harness is the last one. And I put some stuff in here for the bootstrap. I'm going to comment them out as well. And I'm just leaving the application itself. Everything for the application I'll leave in. And that's it. Yeah, apparently I missed some stuff here in configurator. So make sure I get those. Okay, set configuration, get configuration. Anything else in file operations other than clean up data or clean up root path? No. Okay, good. And the error messages, that's fine. Loggers I don't care about. Ignore. So in training 2, yes, we definitely start building the business rules. I'm just going to kind of go over what we're missing here. Data broker, I don't see anything new there. We do have a new file called rule broker. And then business rules, which we're going to do that here in a minute. Rules, all the rules. Is there anything else in chief configuration? Probably not. Let's see here. Yes, there's the parse loaded configuration. So that's this part that I showed right here, where we say to do parse loaded configuration data. So that's a function we need to actually implement here. But in order to do that, we need the business rules. So we're kind of coming back to, we're like kind of stuck between implementing business rules and implementing business rules. Well, gee, I'd like to have the implementing business rules, I suppose. There's not a whole lot of other choices around the block. Warden, let's see, is there anything else there? Yes, that is also dependent upon the business rules. So that there, configurator. I bet, yep, yeah, that's absolutely right. We need to start doing that. I think this is also dependent on business rules, if I am not mistaken. Let me double check. No, there's not. Okay. File operations, I think I already checked that one. Yeah, there's a new function there, but it's for logging, so I'm not too worried about that.